Hey guys, here we go into a film study on why Teofimo Lopez's fight against Nakatani was so lackluster and why his performance was, seemed to be subpar. Even he knew that it wasn't the best performance he could give. Now, what we're going to be looking at is the first round only because it sets the tone for the entire fight, and why we have so many instances in the fight of Lopez doing this. Notice Nakatani feinting, probing with the jab, looking for Lopez to react, and Lopez only looking to get away from that jab, right? And then duck under the right hand, right? But that's not really what his real intention was, not to get away from the right hand. But we're going to go ahead and talk about it. And the first thing I want to talk about is the active guard. Now, Lopez coming forward, right? Shooting the jab. Notice how he shoots the jab, and Nakatani catches it, right? He's all, oh, look at where Nakatani's jab, where his backhand is, where his right hand is, across his face, right? Because he just blocked the jab. Immediately, Lopez says, oh, I see this, okay. Shoots the jab, and now he says, okay, just in case he looks to counter, right? He looks to catch his own jab, right? So he shoots the jab, and then it's called the cross block. Fernando Vargas was really, really good with it. But you catch the opposing jab when it comes. Now, Lopez says, okay, I know how you're going to react to my jab. So he shoots the jab, catches the counter jab, jabs to the body, and then goes for a left hook upstairs. How does someone who does this in the first 15 seconds of a fight wind up going 12 rounds with an opponent he could barely hit? Well, I'll tell you guys. So after Nakatani starts letting his punches go, right? And Nakatani has a little bit more active of a guard than you might give him credit for. But let's just kind of watch him right here. Watch every time he leans on the front foot, right? Brings his gloves up, right? Brings his gloves up. Feinting, right? And it's like subtle movements with his hands, but Lopez has to find a time in which that glove is going to come up, and it's not going to be a punch, right? And now Lopez is seeing that Nakatani doesn't really have a problem letting his left hand go, so he says, okay, now I'll just wait for that left hand. But again, Nakatani with this active guard, it's hard to tell, oh, is he going to punch here? Is he going to punch here? And he's able to punch and throw punches at Lopez and keep him off balance. Now again, Lopez showing that off those feints, he's not seeing the timing coming, right? Catching him a little bit off guard there. But you can see how when Lopez turns away from it, that he's looking to set up the overhand right over the top of the jab. And again, you can see it with this posture here. He shoots the jab here. And notice how all his weight transfers to his back leg. He's looking to pull counter the jab of Nakatani. And that's basically the whole fight. The whole fight is going to be fought in this regard. But as you see here, again, Nakatani with this active guard and his feint, right? And every time he brings up his gloves, right, Lopez has to be worried about it. But what I want you to focus on here, now focus on right here, when Nakatani feints here. Now watch Lopez turn his shoulder here. See how he turns his shoulder? He's looking to get the pull counter going. He's looking to catch that jab, wind up on the right hand, and then let it go against Nakatani, but he can't get the timing. And even though he's ready, he can't find the time because of the way that that Nakatani is feinting him, right? Feint. And the reason that it is so easy for Nakatani, and again, when he shoots the jab to the body here, boom, look at how he comes up, and he turns his shoulder so he can pivot his weight to his back leg so he can come back with that right hand again. Now, the reason that Nakatani is seeming to have so much success, right, or let's not say that Nakatani is having success, let's call it what it is, it's a lack of success on Lopez's part. The reason that Lopez is not having success is if you notice in the beginning of the fight, Lopez is coming at him, feinting him, right? Giving him different looks, giving him different attacks. Look, he gives him 3 different attacks in the first 10 seconds. Jab. Oh, you want to catch that jab now, right? Maybe you want to counter. Shoot the jab. Oh, do you want to counter? Nah, maybe. Let's see. And then he lands a left hook to the head 14 seconds into the fight. But all of a sudden, he decides that he's just going to let Nakatani throw punches at him and keep it an easy night, right? Now, notice that Lopez is not feinting him. He's not controlling him. He's not giving him different looks, right? He's just waiting for that jab. He's just baiting the jab so he can land the right hand over the top. Look at him waiting, right? And that's the reason why Nakatani is having so much success, is because Nakatani realizes that the fight is no longer about the fight. They have this mini game going on where where Teofimo Lopez is saying, okay, I'm waiting for the jab so I can counter with my right hand. And Nakatani is saying, okay, he's waiting for my jab so he can counter me with the right hand. Now, that gives Lopez only one option. One. The pull counter for the jab. That's all he's waiting for. That's the only athletic endeavor that he's looking or he has available to him is to counter his opponent's jab. Whereas Nakatani, he can give him different looks. He can feint him right here. Feint him. Oh, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And he's able to control Lopez and stop Lopez from setting up his own shots, and setting up his shots and keep Lopez off balance because he has control of that space. Now, that's not because necessarily that Nakatani is a good fighter or even a better fighter than Lopez. It's just that Lopez has decided that this is how he wants to fight the fight. That's the only part. That's it. We've already seen in the first 15 seconds, he's able to feint Nakatani and land hard punches. So why isn't he doing that? And again, it's just because, he wants to land the overhand right. Now, this is the first time he lets the shot go. He gets feinted, the shot comes, and because Nakatani doesn't bring his hand back, it winds up landing on Nakatani's back instead, but Nakatani gets to see it. And he's like, okay, cool. So now he comes in with the active guard again, feinting Lopez, right? And look at how Lopez reacts. He's like, okay, pull away. And he's easily walked into these other shots, these very, easy jabs to the body because Lopez can't find a timing in which Nakatani is going to shoot his jab. Notice Lopez trying to control the lead hand of Nakatani, and Lopez just being a little bit behind on rhythm right there and getting caught with the jab. But again, Nakatani feinting him, and every time he steps on this front foot, this is basically a feint because that's the timing in which he's throwing his jab, and he's keeping Lopez off rhythm. Again, coming forward, and Lopez, again, showing that he can land shots with his feints, right? Landing a good left hook to the body right there. Why wasn't he doing more of that? Again, because he wants to wait for the jab to come from Nakatani. He's waiting for that shot so he can counter over the top and have that kind of spectacular knockout. But again, you can see him getting feinted again, right? Feinted right here, feinted. Thinks it's going to be a jab to the body, gets cocked up for the left hook in case the jab to the body comes. And then he gets, a hook instead of a jab, so he's not pull countering that, right? Even though he tries to catch it, he's just getting caught out of position in almost every one of these scenarios. And that's not because necessarily Nakatani is a great fighter. That is only because Lopez is ignoring the first rule of boxing, is to control your opponent. You have to control them. You want to be the one dictating what they are doing in the ring. And the first step to that is controlling the space between you and your opponent. Now, if Lopez could find a rhythm in which he could have his glove on Nakatani's for, 90% of the active guard rotation, I'll call it, or the wheel, if he could find a rhythm in which he could control Nakatani and let Nakatani punch in only 10% of that wheel, he will know when that punch is coming, and it'll be much more easy for him to counter. But because he's not feinting, because he's not giving him different looks, he's not moving off the line, he's not feinting with the right hand, he's not feinting with his jab, he's not doing anything, Nakatani has free reign to layer his attacks however he wants and give Lopez as many different looks as he can to make it so that Lopez cannot be successful. And oh wait, why was I showing this? I'm not sure. But again, having a hard time, and Lopez does finally wind up finding the timing eventually, and lands a couple, I think. But that's the reason why the fight seemed to be like so much of a dud, is just because Lopez was waiting too much, and he wanted to blame it on the fact that Nakatani was really tall. I don't agree with that. I think that, Lopez, do better, bro, because you have the potential to be something that not a lot of people do. You have the talent, you have the smarts. You have to remember that you need to work hard in there. If Lopez worked hard in the first 3 rounds to set up his punches, he wouldn't have had to work hard for 12 rounds to stay in the fight, right? Think about that idea. If you work hard for the 3 rounds and you land your big punches, you knock him out in 6, you don't have to fight 12 rounds with a guy that's looking to hurt you, But anyway, really interesting fight. I'm glad that Lopez kind of got that out of the way before he fights someone like Lomachenko. He kind of experiences a little bit of that rhythm, that looking to counter that, and maybe that was his whole idea, is that he's looking to counter anyway, so he wants to build up that little skills resume for his future endeavors. But regardless, don't sleep on Teofimo because of this performance. I think that he's still, I think the term is like a blue chip prospect or whatever, or contender. I think contender doesn't give him the respect that he deserves. I think that he's a phenomenal fighter. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys were impressed with the performance, or if you guys thought that Nakatani was actually pretty impressive. Also, you guys, not controlling the space, that is exactly the reason why Dadashev wound up getting beaten last night by the guy that he fought, is because the only way that he looked to control the space against that guy was throwing punches at him and putting himself out of position. He wasn't feinting. He wasn't giving him different looks. He wasn't looking to control his opponent and walk him into punches. He was being controlled and walked into punches. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out foutsboxing.com for all the latest boxing news. Well, it's not really the most news, it's kind of just fun stuff to write. But boxing news and boxing articles and fight recaps. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.